Време на пандемия. Време за избор. От ръба на оцеляването до световните постижения. София на пътя на иновациите. Време е за среща на върха.
Hello everyone on the other side of the screen, and thank you for joining us at the Innovation Expo 2021. My name is Irina Bushtarova, an innovation journalist and a co-founder of the Recursive, a new generation media for the new economy in Southeast Europe. I'm very excited to welcome our guest from Brussels today, Sabine Evereat. Sabine has been part of CocaCola since 1995, and over the last 25 years, she held various IT management roles in the company. In 2016, she was appointed CIO for the EMEA region. Currently, her focus is on digitizing the enterprise. This is an EMEA-wide program that aims to drive productivity, collaboration, and engagement. But the focus of the digital transformation of CocaCola is primarily on digitizing with the consumer, supported by advanced analytics. What's even more exciting is that this EMEA-wide program and value delivery happens mainly through an insourced and continuously growing regional delivery center here in Sofia. Sabine graduated as business engineer from the Catholic University of Leuven, and in 2011 she was awarded CAO of the Year in Belgium. Later on, she was also named one of the top 50 most inspirational women in technology in Europe. And moreover, she is a passionate supporter of women in IT and leadership. Between 2013 and 2018, she chaired the CocaCola European Leadership Council. But she is active also in several external networks to support the advancement of women in their career in IT. During our conversation, I encourage you all to send us your questions over the website of the event and also post them on in the Facebook as a comment. I would be happy to include them at the end of our Q&A session with Sabine. Dear Sabine, welcome.
Thank you.
My first question is, of course, in relation to the current situation which we have been observing over the past year globally. We're going currently through an intense period of transformation in so many aspects. How is this affecting the business of CocaCola, and is it surviving or is it thriving?
That's a very good question. And I guess it could be an easy answer. We can say that we're thriving, but I guess to thrive, what you really need to do is to make sure that you continuously transform your company. So if you look at what we were doing even before the pandemic, the top leaders, they are talking to each other every year at the beginning of the year, and we build transformation plans to be ready to any change in the world. So looking at that, our goal has been to be part of the top quartile growth companies anyway, and the consumer has always been at the heart of everything we defined. Obviously, the pandemic came and then things changed a bit. So certain things of our transformation plan were actually accelerated by the pandemic, and other things actually were put on hold. And I think that's what a company needs to look at and prioritize. Now, it's clear that from a business perspective, with the lockdown and the closure of all the bars and the restaurants, that had a significant impact on our business. We see a serious decrease in sales in the channel away from home, so HoReCa, but we see obviously an increase in sales in the at-home channel, as we call it, which is supermarkets, etc. Now, one doesn't compensate the other from a revenue perspective because typically the margins in the HoReCa are slightly higher than the margins in the at-home channel. So from a financial perspective, it truly impacted us. And what we tried to do actually was build foundational support programs where we helped in communities, even financially, all these businesses that went bankrupt, or not went bankrupt, but actually that were in difficulty, I would say. But not just financially, actually, we've built a sort of advertising where we allowed, from a technology perspective, all these businesses to build, to generate advertising for their own business based on our campaigns. So we've all built that from a technology perspective. So we were trying to help the business that was impacted from that perspective. Now, if you look at the consumer, her or himself, what we have noticed is that they go back to basic products as well. So that was one of the triggers, but not the only one actually, to rationalize our portfolio. So we are seriously looking at the number of brands we have. We used to have 400 brands, and we've brought it down now over the last months to 200 brands. And I think that's definitely been accelerated with COVID. Now, the company has a huge program in place to emerge stronger. We're still targeting to be a top quartile growth company, and therefore we are transforming to a true network organization that is able to work in an agile fashion, cross-functional, innovative, etc.
So you're basically growing with the businesses that you're providing.
Absolutely.
This is interesting because you mentioned also innovation. Well-established businesses are currently challenged to innovate and to disrupt themselves in order to sustain their competitive advantage. How do you drive innovation in a traditional multinational company such as CocaCola?
Yeah, I think there are maybe some prejudgments in the question when you talk about a traditional multinational company. And I think there is, to a great extent, there is tradition in the way we operate, absolutely. That does not mean as a big company that we're trying to reinvent ourselves as well. So when we talk about innovation, I think the core thing is that you start from understanding what business problem you're trying to solve. Whether you are a startup, whether you are a big company, a small company, etc. So bringing the people together in a room, brainstorm on a business problem that has the consumer or the customer always at the center is a core prerequisite to start thinking about innovation. And obviously, we have the agile methodology, design thinking, building these minimum viable products, failing fast. Scaling is important because we have like a bit of the non-invented here syndrome still available in certain parts of our company. That is important. And even as a big company, if you put the right capability and the right people in place, you can do that. Now, there are some interesting things happening in our company as well, which does not make us the traditional multinational. So we have acquired brands in the past, like Innocent, which is a smoothie brand. We have acquired Costa Coffee. We have acquired actually a technology company in Latin America as well that does digital commerce. And when you look at these businesses, we are not really integrating them in our traditional business, but what we're trying to do is keep them as separate startups within the bigger company and giving them the opportunity to operate as a startup. And I must admit, Irina, I was in another conference not long ago where someone was stating that big corporations might become a consolidation of startups. And I think what you will see in the future is that there will be pockets of startups in these bigger companies as well that have the, the empowerment to operate and function really like a startup with the seed funds and all of that. Yeah. So that's an important one we're trying to achieve.
That's an exciting perspective of how we can see corporations in the future. Well, but this kind of setup and also innovation require a certain type of mindset and also leadership. How do you manage to attract, but also to retain the right talents with the right mindset for these endeavors of CocaCola?
Yeah, I guess retention is first of all, you need to make sure you have the right mindset in place, and then you can talk about retention, right? So if you look at the target of our company to be part of the top quartile growth companies, it's asking a very, very big growth mindset. And what our company has done is we have defined what we call growth behaviors. And it's quite interesting because when you look at these 4 growth behaviors that we have put in place, all 4 are actually tying to innovation. So the first one is around inclusion. And, we all talk about diversity, inclusion, but the core of inclusion is to take very different perspectives to the table. And as such, you will be more innovative. Yeah. The second growth behavior we have in place is agility. Typically in an innovation environment, you're trying very quickly, building minimum viable products. If you fail, you stop, and then or you take something that has been successful, you expand it, you scale it, etc. So inclusion, agility. The third one is empowerment, which is very typical for these cross-functional teams that you put in place to solve a business problem. And the fourth one is around curiosity. So these four growth behaviors are absolutely crucial. They have been in place for multiple years now. And whenever we evaluate people at the end of the year, when we look at the potential of the people, or when we hire people, this is on the list of criteria that we're checking people against, right? So it's not just hiring people because of their experience, their expertise, what they've done in the past, but really getting that growth mindset in place with these four growth behaviors is something that we are checking very, very seriously. So one of the other things I've seen in terms of mindset is, and we've been lucky in Sofia because we've been able to hire a lot of people that have, really good agile experience, etc. The complexity, I think, in traditional companies is that you see the younger generations that are coming from other companies as well with the skill of building products and doing that in an agile manner, not just the methodology, but also with the mindset. What is crucial is that your leadership takes the same mindset. So you can't have an agile cross-functional team working on a program and then leaders asking to report the budget every 2 days in an Excel spreadsheet and all of that. You need to make sure that when you give and when you empower these people to work in an agile way, that you truly understand as a leader, how do you contribute, how do you support teams in an agile environment without being the older-fashioned, I would say, controlling leader. I'm not stating we are the controlling leaders, but the balance between, the old way of working and then really embedding the new ways of working, you see the difference in generations and you see the difference in seniority of leaders as well. So that's an important one. I guess one of the other elements is a mindset of rapid scaling and not making it perfect for everyone, but making sure that you standardize to the extent possible so you can scale it broader. That's a very, very crucial thing. So it's balancing more the bottom-up innovation with the top-down innovation and making sure, you find the middle ground and really getting rid of the non-invented here syndrome. And that's a very, very, very complicated one in a creative company like CocaCola. And I guess the last element I would want to say around mindset of innovation is innovation in a company like Coke initially was really innovating, getting new brands, innovating products, etc. The world is moving. All companies are looking at their core business, innovating in the core of their business, but then people start looking at adjacent businesses and they start looking at services they deliver internally, they might digitize it, and then they might provide the service to even a competitor, etc. So the example I was giving about the Latin American company we have bought, they are providing a marketplace actually for digital commerce that is helping traditional trade to digitize their business. So it's not for the big supermarkets, but it's for the smaller stores. So we provide the digital platform, and it's not just for our products. We provide the platform even for our competitors and for all manufacturers actually that are selling goods into a traditional store. Before we would have thought about, we do e-commerce, so we sell our product Coke or any of the other brands. Now we're looking more at the trends in the market, and you work in an ecosystem, you build partnerships, you're looking at the broader marketplace and see what role you can play there. So innovation is way beyond looking at new products, looking at emerging technology. It's really, really only interesting if it can drive growth when you look at interesting new business models, new revenue streams, etc. So that mindset is extremely important.
Can you elaborate also, maybe shortly, how is the team in Sofia contributing to these innovation efforts?
Yeah, I think you mentioned it in the introduction. We're obviously very proud to have a very big team in Sofia. We started building the team in 2017, and before 2017, we had a clear sourcing strategy that was based on outsourced people, right? I think the good news is in 2017, we have revised that strategy because we firmly believe that with all the changes in technology, mainly in the space that is touching the relationship with our consumer and our customer, is building competitive advantage versus the past. And by the fact you can build competitive advantage in digitizing your relationship with your consumer, with your customer, and then really becoming a data-driven company and do advanced analytics, build algorithms in very, very different domains, we've come to the conclusion that we have to build it internally and have the knowledge and the capability with us, right? And we're not just doing it for the Coca-Cola company, we're working together with our 200 bottling partners in the world as well, and making sure that whatever we build is easily shareable. So we were very happy to hire people. The good news is we took quite young people. We have some more senior people as well, but we have quite a lot of hands-on people, and we have them all over, the whole suite of technology, I would say. And when you look at the typical roles they play, we have the solution architects, we have the scrum masters, we have, end user experience specialists and adoption managers and change managers, all of that. Visualization people, we have data scientists, all of these capabilities, we have been able to hire them. It's actually been very interesting because we could hire people with expertise externally that would have taken most probably quite some time to build internally from the existing base of IT people we had before. So we've been very happy in hiring all these people in Sofia. I think they're doing a lot of effort as well in Sofia in terms of building technology capabilities, etc. Now, obviously, one of the things we're feeling is that there starts to be a serious war for talent as well, which not necessarily making things easier, but that is a trend that's happening in different countries and different locations.
Sabine, as leaders, we often are expected to be confident, to have answered to often complex situations and be able sometimes to do tough decisions. But in my personal experience, sometimes there is also those difficult moments when we doubt ourselves, our capabilities, our decisions, our ideas. How do you deal with self-doubt? And is there a mantra that you tell yourself when you're in a situation like that?
I actually firmly believe in visualization techniques that are used in meditation. You set very clear goals with purpose and meaning. You become extremely obsessive about it, and then any decision you take will get you there. So my mantra would be, energy flows where attention goes.
And Sabine, advancing to a leadership position in a male-dominated field as a team must be challenging, I would expect. Would you agree that this is changing now for the women in leadership which are yet to come, of the new generation? And what is the role of women leadership in the age of digital?
Yeah, I think first of all, at Coke, we've done a lot of effort in terms of increasing women in leadership positions. So I think you've mentioned it in the introduction as well. I've been chairing the European Women Leadership Council and represented Europe in the Global Council, actually. So we've done a lot of work, and everyone knows it makes business sense to do so. It's proven to drive innovation, to drive performance, etc. Now, women in tech is yet another problem, right? So women in leadership is one thing, but women in tech, we all know that the pipeline actually is far too small. And I think I looked at statistics, and they're a bit old, maybe end of 2018. It's amazing, but Bulgaria has, when you look at the STEM degrees in Bulgaria, 40% of the STEM degrees are females. It's the highest in Europe. It's amazing. The second highest is Belgium, which is quite funny. Now, knowing that we're here with Sofia, Bulgarian people and maybe some people from Belgium as well. The second one is Belgium. But what Bulgaria is capable of doing is actually deploying, if I can say so, all these women in technology roles, whilst in Belgium, half of the people would go in other roles. So I think there is somewhere something magic or something that is stimulating for the people locally in Bulgaria that is really helping women to thrive actually in a technology role. And that's absolutely important. We all know that there's going to be a war for talent. We don't have sufficient women. We don't have sufficient people in technology. So we absolutely need women to join us in that journey. Now, what do we need to do? The women that have lots of experience, I think our role is to be a true role model and inspire women to become part of that community. That's what we really need to do. And that's one of the reasons I'm actually quite vocal on some of these conferences, to explain what a role in IT can be and how interesting it can be. And it's not just the programming side, but it's the way you interact with the business and all of that. But that role modeling is something we have to do very, very intentionally with the younger generation.
Sabine, it's been such a pleasure to have you here. And I'm now going to open the questions also from the audience. So stay here with me. We will be back in short.
Thank you.